Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Mano 777, and we're back inside of Destiny here, covering all the changes and things that they went over today in the Bungie Livestream, covering Hotfix 2.5.0.2. So we're going to be covering all the big stuff that they talked about, including some weapon buffs and things like that. So let's just get into it. First of all, sidearms are receiving no changes, which is actually kind of interesting. The most important thing is shotguns that I've heard. Shotguns are going to receive significantly decreased magnetism. They are going to remove all aim assist when hip firing. So, for example, if you're trying to get sticky on one of the characters, then you're just hip firing. There's really no aim assist there at all. One big thing that they've changed is they have decreased mid-air accuracy as well as removed all precision damage from shotguns. That's probably the #1 way people killed others with shotguns, is jumped up in an area and try to get a precision headshot on someone. And because they remove that precision headshot, it's going to be absolutely huge. So, next up, we've got a 20% buff to shotgun damage in PvE to make up for the lack of critical damage. The Chaperone and the Universal Remote still do precision damage, but the Chaperone does precision damage all the time, and the Universal Remote only does it when ADSing. Increased aim down sight time for the rangefinder perk on shotguns by 25%. So there's a little bit of a trade-off if you are going to use the rangefinder perk. You do get increased range, but you have increased aim down the sight time for the rangefinder perk. Finally, they've removed the agility decrease when welding a shotgun, so you're still able to be agile when using those shotguns. The next biggest thing that they talked about in terms of weapons was pulse rifles. Pulse rifles received a reduced rate of fire for low impact, high rate of fire pulse rifles like the Clever Dragon, Grasp of Malak, and the Waltz by 7.7% or 1 frame. In addition, high caliber rounds are going to be nerfed to do less flinch on this particular archetype of weapon. Pulse rifles across the board have had their flinch reduced. Grasp of Malak and Clever Dragon now have their magazine size reduced by about 6. Actually, Grasp of Malak actually has a few more shots in it than the Clever Dragon does. But if you have, for example, the braced frame roll on the Grasp of Malak, you're going to lose some of your ammo capacity there, so there's a trade-off there. In addition, they have increased the rate of fire for high-impact pulse rifles by 5.3%. So those people who are maybe using spare change, or if you're using year 1 weapons like the Messenger, those are going to be buffed. In addition, pulse rifles have also had their in-air accuracy increased. Auto rifles are going to gladly see a buff, which is something I've been waiting for a while because it's very much not been a thing here. We've got an increased base damage of low rate of fire auto rifles, like the Suros Regime and Shadow Price, so those are going to be viable again in PvP. In addition, they've got an increased critical multiplier from 1.25 to 3. Auto rifles have had their in-air accuracy increased. So auto rifles are now going to be a viable choice if you know how to use them. And if you enjoy using them, I think that's going to be a great option for you to have. In addition, for hand cannons, they are going to significantly increase the initial first shot accuracy back to year 1 values, which is actually something that's really positive. The one thing that they've done for that trade-off is they have reduced the base range by 5 meters. It affects the aim assistance and also the damage drop-off. There's reduced max range damage reduction by 50 to 33%. In addition, they haven't made any changes for bloom or spamming shots. You still have to pace your shots. So the best choices that I would say you could have in hand cannons are maybe the return of Hawkmoon. Thorn might see a return as well, even though the damage over time over there will not see that much of a buff or anything else like that. In addition, scout rifles have had their in-air accuracy increased as well. The biggest thing to talk about in general in PvP is the fact that some things have happened to special ammo changes. Players now start matches with special ammo, but you now lose all ammunition upon death, which is massive. Special crates spawn every 60 seconds in a match. And there's reduced radius for special ammo drops and pickups for teammates. So they've actually reduced it from 100 meters to 75. So that's a little bit of a difference. You have to be a little bit closer to the actual spot where they are picking up ammunition. In addition, they are going to have players only start with special on the first round of elimination with special ammo. Invective and Icebreakers are not affected, so we could see the return of Icebreaker, especially in long-range engagements, and that being the weapon of choice. Sidearms still spawn with ammo upon death, so you could see also a Trespasser. You could see a Trespasser kind of meta as well, at least in trials. So that's pretty exciting to see as well. I do want to see a little bit more hand cannons, but the reduction to shotguns and things like that is pretty massive. Next up, let's talk about class changes. Hunter changes, and this is something that makes me a little bit sad. Hungering Blade for Blade Dancer now immediately grants health instead of regenerating health. Shields no longer regenerate on the kill. And the reason why I'm sad about it is, well, we'll get to my reactions here in a little bit. We'll talk about the reactions to everything in just a minute. Throwing Knife now does solar damage, which doesn't affect PvP at all. Blink will then be adjusted in the next update, but they didn't really talk about anything in it. For Warlocks, they have reduced the Stormcaller melee range. Sorry, Will. Landfall now reduces total time while in Storm Trance. Blink will now be adjusted in the next update, but they didn't really talk about anything in addition, but they said that Blink is going to be changed somehow. In addition, for Titans, Juggernaut now disables more quickly in mid-air, and Juggernaut can not be activated in mid-air. So those are some things that we know about class changes and weapons. Let's talk a little bit about some exotic changes that we know and some miscellaneous fixes. The Universal Remote, again, like I talked about earlier, precision damage is still a thing, and only active when aiming down the sights. They didn't really talk about anything else. Truth is going to be adjusted in this update. That's one of the things that they talked about in the update. Shinobu's Vow, they said it was going to be adjusted as an exotic change, and same thing with Young Wolf's Howl. I think they're gonna buff that sword for some reason, because honestly, it was never getting used. No one used the Young Wolf's Howl. So a couple other things is that they have fixed some knee pads on some certain weapons, like so you would slide a little bit longer. So just something to consider there. And finally, there's been no changes to SKORRIs. Now my reactions. Let's just talk about everything in general. I'm happy with the way that they are trying to put primary weapons in the spotlight. I really do enjoy that. I really think that, for example, pulse rifles have been really strong for a really long time, and I think that it's time to see some other weapons and get them going. But the biggest thing that I like is the fact that we are returning to a possible meta where we could be seeing a lot more, where we could see more hand cannons. That's really what I enjoy, because that's what I used in Year 1 a lot. Now, the nice thing is that Thorn is not going to be one of those weapons that is going to two-tap people anymore. I do enjoy that. You can use Thorn in a good state, so I'm enjoying, looking forward to hitting that, as well as looking forward to trying out maybe some other hand cannons that have been just hanging out in my vault. The biggest thing and the biggest disappointment to the entire PvP community needs to be addressed, and that's SKORRIs. Really, the only thing that was breaking the high-end PvP right now was SKORRIs. SKORRIs was just a massive, massive thing that needed to be addressed in the game, and they didn't address it. And I feel that it's either a programming thing or something like that. But they need to figure that out, because honestly, that is the one thing that if they could adjust it and just take it out of PvP, life would be good. But unfortunately for us, they're keeping it. They haven't made any changes to it. Maybe they don't know how to. But SKORRIs is the artifact that allows you to build more super over a greater deal of time if you are next to people who also have their super. So a lot of people in Trials of Osiris were just everyone runs SKORRIs, and they were just camping in the back and getting supers every other round. So not a great thing to have in what they are trying to create as a balanced, non-campy, fast-moving game where primaries are a focus. So that is one thing that's disappointing. Again, like I said, I think that putting primaries in a really, really, really good spot is what they wanted to do. and I think they're going to do it. I'm kind of 50-50 on the changes to special weapons and the fact that they're going to be getting rid of special weapons ammo. Those special weapons are so cool. There's a lot of really cool things you can do with that and with those items that it's kind of sad that, unfortunately, we don't really get an opportunity to use those weapons except for the first round. And whoever wins that first round is going to have a massive advantage. One thing that they didn't talk about was, is special ammunition going to be kept by that one team if they pick up the ammo? Are they going to keep that throughout the rounds? If, like, first round, if someone dies, is that going to be something that that one team has special and the other team doesn't? We just are going to have to find out. Maybe get a little bit more information when the patch notes go live. We all knew that the melee range on the Stormcaller was going to get nerfed. I'm not sure. The biggest thing that I think was an unnecessary change was the Blade Dancer nerf. It's not very strong anyways, and in the top tier PvP groups, they're definitely not using it a whole lot. It's definitely not one of those things that's used by the top tier PvPers. So I'm wondering why they got rid of that. Especially when there's a lot of other choices that you can make in the game that are very similar to that. Like, say, for example, if you're using a Sunbreaker Titan and you use the Cauterize perk, I mean, it's essentially the same thing. If you put on your Sun Charge. So it's just kind of one of those things that it's just a mystery. And then it's funny because, to me, as soon as they said that, and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, so we nerfed this, and so we're going to give you solar damage on your throwing knife, and that's how we're going to fix it. So it's like, what? Doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, one trade-off for another, and they kind of just tried to cover that up, but a lot of people were really salty. I really want to see what's going to happen with Blink. I really am interested to see what they do in terms of Blink, because I don't think that Blink Shotgun is that much of a thing anymore. It's still... especially if you take out the shotguns and how that they operate. Say, for example, like, a lot of times people would jump up and shotgun someone right in the face. With Blink, and Blink Shotgun was a huge thing back in year one. But now with the negation of shotguns, especially with the critical damage, I don't think it's going to be a thing. I think that maybe we should see Blink come up just a little bit. Just a little bit. I think if they bring it back to year one, it's not going to work very well. I think the Titan Juggernaut nerf was a good pick. I think the Warlocks, I think that was a good thing. I think we all expected that the Stormcaller was going to get nerfed at least, just to bring it in line with the other ones. Are we happy about it? Not necessarily, but it's going to be interesting to see how Sidearms and No Land Beyond are going to be used, because honestly, for those people who wanted to take those long-range engagements, we could see that. So we're looking for the guns that I think are going to be a thing in the next meta, if you will, we're going to be looking for those hand cannons that are going to return, that are going to have a little bit more distance on them. Hawkmoon would be solid. I think that Thorn would be good. We may even see the return of Red Death, even though it's not in the top tier, in the lowest rate of fire, highest damage archetype. We could see the return of that. And I think that we're just going to see a little bit more slower play in general. So that can be a good thing, and it can be a bad thing. It can be good because it's one of those things where there are some other people who can maybe have a little bit more fun in the game, and they're not getting shotgunned in the air constantly. However, it's not good because there is a part in my brain that thinks that it's going to be one of those games where people are going to camp a lot. You know, they're going to camp for special ammo. People are going to wait, unless if they're pushing with Invective or with the Icebreaker. Those are going to be some really viable choices. And Trespasser, I think Trespasser is going to be a great weapon to have. I think that we might see the return of that on some close quarters maps. And shotguns, I mean, if you think about it, shotguns are going to be pretty much gone in trials unless if people decide to wait it out. But I think they're trying to really engage the primary weapon fights, because that's a lot of things. You know, people wanted to make it so that there's more primaries in the game. I'm excited to use more auto rifles, because I have never really got into the auto rifle meta. I always used pulse rifles, and I always used hand cannons. So I'm excited to see where auto rifles go. And yeah, that's pretty much the thoughts on the hotfix. Most of the things are, I think, okay and good fixes and a good direction of where to go and to keep things fresh. However, the fact that we're not going to have a SKORRI's fix just really really just is a question mark in my mind, because it's the thing that you hear all the time in forums, on Facebook pages, in streams, everywhere. People are like, dude, you gotta get SKORRIs out of here. In fact, so much so that today SKORRIs was one of the top items on Twitter for the trending items of the day. SKORRIs. So really interesting. The last time we had something in Destiny that actually trended for that, it was Gallarhorn Day. So interesting thought. I'm really interested to see if maybe Bungie can come up with a good explanation for that. I'd really like to see them do a little bit more in terms of explaining how that artifact will work in PvP. And yeah, guys, that's my take. Guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you got any other questions or any things that you want to see from the live stream, or if you want me to comment anything, let me know. Go ahead and put those comments down in the comment section below. If you like something in this video, a positive rating would be greatly appreciated. Hit that subscribe button for more Destiny content. Thank you guys so much for supporting the stream. Come on over to my Twitch live streams where we do raids, PvP. We're actually doing a PvP match right now, so I want to thank these guys who are in my video right now. We've got Furious, we've got Soza, we've got Styx, we got Will, and we got Zip. So guys, thank you so much for coming on into the video. Thanks for hanging out today, and we'll see you guys next time in the universe of Destiny.